Upset.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And before we actually start our regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees, we have a very special occasion tonight, special ceremony. It'll be the swearing in of the new trustees and myself. It will be conducted by a very special guest tonight that was a friend of the family of one of the new trustees. It's a federal judge named Susan Cox. Susan Cox was selected as a magistrate judge for the Northern District of Illinois in Chicago on April 19, 2007, and came on duty on August 27th of that same year. Prior to her appointment as magistrate judge, Judge Cox was the president and owner of the law offices of Susan E. Cox Limited, a litigation firm specializing in federal criminal defense and litigation. Judge Cox's litigation background includes 3 years as a law clerk to United States District Judge Wayne R. Anderson, 8 years as an assistant United States attorney, and 13 years of civil practice, including substantial trial work in employment, commercial, and patent infringement cases. Judge Cox also served as an impartial due process hearing officer for the Illinois State Board of Education from 2005 to 2007, and as a federal defender, panel attorney from 2003 until her judicial appointment. Judge Cox was also appointed by the federal court to assist in monitoring employment actions of the city of Chicago and served in that capacity from August 2005 until her appointment as magistrate judge. A Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Allegheny College from Pennsylvania, just want to make that little editorial comment. Judge Cox received her law degree from Boston University, and where she was an editor of the Boston University Law Review. Now that, I think, probably way overqualified, okay? However, very much appreciated. I'm going to ask now for the new trustees to join us in the front of the room for the swearing in.
And Guy,
sorry?
Trustee Francis.
And Trustee Francis, and Trustee, well, everybody. Now, who goes first officially?
Doesn't matter.
You know, I think Trustee Francis should go first. Okay.
Okay. You want to raise your right hand, please? Do you, Guy Francis, solemnly affirm or swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee of the Village of Burr Ridge to the best of your ability?
I will.
Okay. Oh, sure.
Now, ladies first.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you, Anita Natal, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee of the Village of Burr Ridge to the best of your ability? I will. Congratulations.
And next, we have Zachary Model, new trustee.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you, Zachary Model, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee of the Village of Burr Ridge to the best of your ability?
I will.
Okay, Mayor, you're next. And I think you're going to have to switch the whole, because you have to be sworn in too.
I do, but you see a little bit over this way. I'd love to have a flag right there.
Okay. Do Do you, Mickey Straub, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor for the village of Burr Ridge to the best of your ability?
So help me God, yes, I do.
All right. Okay, all right. Do you, Karen Thomas, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village clerk, the village of Burr Ridge, to the best of your ability? Congratulations.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I must call the meeting to order, the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees with our new trustees and new village clerk. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight, we're going to be led in that Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry?
Don't have to call roll first. Roll call. Sorry, go ahead.
And tonight we're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by someone that I've actually known for a few years, Dylan Reddy. He's a fifth grader at Elm School. His favorite subjects are math and science. His extracurricular activities include band and trumpet and chorus and golf, as well as his travel sports teams are basketball, soccer, baseball, and football. In his spare time, he goes to school. A piece of Dylan's school art was selected to be displayed at the West Suburban Consortium for Academic Excellence Museum in Chicago. One of Dylan's school poems was selected for publication in the Young American Poetry Digest. Out of school, he's pretty much too busy with his sports activities to engage in other out-of-school activities, but his family travels a lot, has been to the UK, India, Mexico, destinations, just to name a few. He's here tonight with his mother, Dr. Lalitha Reddy, and Dr. Srinivas Reddy, otherwise known as Srini Reddy, a dear friend of mine. Now we're going to ask Dylan to come up front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pick a flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America,
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dylan. Congratulations. And we appreciate it. Karen, may I have roll call, please?
Trustee Francis.
Here.
Trustee Model.
Here.
Trustee Pavesa.
Here.
Trustee Martel.
Here.
Trustee Snyder. Trustee Scalpa.
Here.
Mayor Straub.
Here. And now we have the section for the residents' comments. Are there any residents who'd like to address the board at this time?
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. Congratulations. I can recall many years ago, my happiest day was to be sworn in the very first time. And like every boat owner, my second happiest day was when I said goodbye. So I wish you the very, very best. Please, please put the needs of the village residents before your own agenda. That's what I ask. You have a long legacy of people that dedicated many, many hours and blood, sweat, and tears before you. Keep up the good job. Congratulations. With that, I would like to speak in favor of an ordinance that's going to be coming up for consideration. I believe the formal name, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, the Waste Hauler Franchise Agreement. At very first, when this came to conversation, I was very much against this particular ordinance. I firmly believe less government is best government. However, after reading the agreement, talking with staff and with Trustee Francis, I truly believe that the agreement that has been hammered out between the subcommittee and I believe the selected hauler, Groot, will be an outstanding, outstanding agreement for the residents of the village of Burr Ridge. Groot has been my family's waste hauler for the past 27 years. We have had absolutely no problems with them whatsoever. I trust that they will continue to do an excellent job for all the residents of the village. And with that, I would hope when this comes to vote that all of the trustees will vote in the affirmative and allow Groot to provide this service for the entire village. Thank you, and very good luck to all of you.
Are there any other residents who'd like to address the board this time?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Board. Gary Grasso, former mayor. Mickey, I'm here to congratulate you. 4 years ago, I can't think of a harder way to start as mayor. And I know you're proud of your 50 states, 50 capitals, and the perseverance you showed doing that. Having a little experience of where you sit, your perseverance over the last 4 years does you well. And when you have issues here, and I couldn't agree with former trustee Grella more, you will keep the thoughts of the village and the best interests of the village in mind. But think about persevering when you have issues. Because you have someone who walked the walk and persevered. We have a great village in large part over the last 4 years because of you, Mickey, and the board. And I want to thank you and congratulate you for staying with it, running for re-election, unopposed, and taking your seat tonight. You're to be congratulated. Thank you.
Well, thank you, former mayor. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board at this time?
I'd just like to say amen to Gary's.
That was Mr. Dale Bottom, who chimed in agreement. But so thank you very much, Dale. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, otherwise known as the omnibus vote. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda. Under minutes, we have 5A, approval of regular board meeting of April 24th, 2017. 5B, receive and file Veterans Memorial Committee meeting of February 22nd, 2017. C, receive and file Veterans Memorial Committee meeting of March 29th, 2017. And receive and file draft scavenger franchise agreement subcommittee meeting of April 24th, 2017. Under considerations, we have 8D, approval of recommendation to award contract for municipal campus exterior painting, bid opening 5/3, May 3rd at 11 a.m. We have approval of recommendation to renew contract for prosecutor services. F, approval of Veterans Memorial Committee meeting to reappoint John Moskell to the Veterans Memorial Committee for a 2-year term expiring April 1st, 2019. G, approval of Veterans Memorial Committee meeting to reappoint Ken Thompson to the Veterans Memorial Committee for a 2-year term expiring April 1st, 2019. H, Approval of Veterans Memorial Committee meeting to reappoint Joseph Kozak to the Veterans Memorial Committee for a 2-year term expiring January 1st, 2019. I, approval of Veterans Memorial Committee to appoint Tim Vaclav to the Veterans Memorial Committee for a 2-year term expiring May 1st, 2019. J, approval of Veterans Memorial Committee to appoint Tim Sitkowski to the Veterans Memorial Committee for a 2-year term expiring May 1st, 2019. K, approval of a request from I&M Canal National Heritage Corridor for donation from Hotel Motel Tax Fund for the village's 2016 annual dues. L, approval of fiscal year 16-17 vendor list in the amount of $228,878.83 for all funds, plus $209,736.79 for payroll, for a grand total of $438,615.62, which includes special expenditures of $19,265 to Kramer Tree Specialists for spring brush removal, $47,407 to Curry Motors for a 2017 Ford F-550 aerial lift truck, $79,485.87 to Curry Motors for a VersaLift aerial power equipment and backup, and $14,545 to Automatic Control Services for cellular modem upgrade installation. Under M, we have approval of fiscal year 17-18 vendor list in the amount of $122,908.77 for all funds, which includes special expenditures of $14,040 to DuPage Metropolitan for fiscal year 17-18 DUMEG fair share contribution, $72,730.25 to DuPage Public Safety Commission for DUCOM dispatching quarterly share. May I have a motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
5A, B, C, D, 8, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and M. So move. Trustee Francis, second. Trustee Montal. Roll call, please.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
Trustee Matal.
Yes.
No.
No. Trustee Matal and Model.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matal.
Trustee Matal.
They're really close.
We'll have to clarify that. You know what, Nikki, I didn't make the motion.
You didn't make the
I
motion?
made the motion.
Oh. Okay. Trustee Model.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Matal.
Yes.
Trustee Schiappa.
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa.
Yes.
5-0.
The first time's always a little tough, okay? It's we're getting used to it. But yes, now we're going to move on to the agenda. We're going to need though to skip over, temporarily skip over the ordinances to move to the resolutions first, which is consideration of adoption of resolution to award a contract for exclusive village-wide scavenger services to Group Industries, Bell Grove, and I'm going to turn now over to Steve Stricker and to Trustee Francis.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a very important consideration that's before you tonight. It's the recommendation of the Scavenger Franchise Agreement Subcommittee to award a franchise agreement for refuse services to Groot Industries. Where did this idea originate? Well, it originated through the village board goal-setting session back in October of 2014, at which time the village board agreed to a goal to pursue a franchise agreement with one waste hauler. Through that, a subcommittee was formed in April of 2016. We first met in May of 2016. They held several meetings with existing waste haulers to better understand the programs that currently residents were currently using, to find out what is the state of the art in the industry. And through that, we were able to prepare what we considered a draft request for proposal. We took that draft, we submitted it and showed it to homeowner association representatives. We solicited input from them, we solicited input from residents through a
article in the newsletter. We received over 40 comments from residents, and based on that, we took that input and revised the request for proposal. We presented it to the village board. The village board allowed us to go ahead and send that proposal out. We did that, and in February of this year, we opened the proposals and found them to be very good in terms of prices compared to what residents are currently paying. And of course, we found that Groot was the low proposal. We held meetings again with the homeowners associations representatives, and we held 2 meetings with residents before the committee moved forward and made a recommendation that you have before you tonight. So that is kind of the process over a course of a year of a lot of work and effort to, again, prepare the RFP, and then once we found a hauler that we think we could work with, we prepared an actual contract, which you have in front of you. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about why did we even consider the possibility of a franchise agreement. I'm going to turn it over to Trustee Francis.
Thank you, Steve. So one of the first things the subcommittee did was come up with the reasoning behind a franchise agreement. Why do we want to do this? And we came up with 4 major reasons. The first being safety, safety for our residents in the village, which is really, as trustees, our primary goal, our primary mission. We employ a police force, a highly skilled and dedicated police force to ensure the safety of our residents. We have some of the best maintained roads in the area. We plow and salt those roads in the wintertime so that ice and snow doesn't build up. We can all travel safely on our roads. We have stormwater collection systems that ensure the safety of our residents. So our main number 1 goal is the safety of our residents. And how do we accomplish that? Well, it's by reducing the waste hauling trucks. Currently, we have 4 licensed waste haulers in the village that serve the residents. Each waste hauler has at least 2 trucks, sometimes 3, one for waste, refuse, another for recyclable materials, and possibly a third for landscape waste. So there's a possibility of 12 trucks every week going up and down our streets from 4 different waste haulers. If we were to enter into a franchise agreement, we would reduce that by 3/4 or down to 3 trucks, 1 refuse truck, 1 recycle truck, and 1 landscape waste truck. So there'll be much less wear and tear on our roads because of these trucks, less fuel consumed, therefore less emissions in our neighborhoods, and of course less noise. Another benefit would be cost savings to the residents. Currently, as a resident, I have to negotiate, or I can negotiate a price with the waste hauler once every year or 2 years. I have to call and make survey each of the waste haulers and get the best price for the best service. And every resident does that as well, or can do that as well. It's a lot of effort. But if the village can enter into an agreement, the village can negotiate on behalf of all of the residents and take advantage of a 3,600 plus households to negotiate the best price possible for the residents. Another benefit would be enhanced recycling and other environmental friendly opportunities. The waste haulers agreed, and we've made part of the contract, that they offer educational programs, pamphlets, ways to teach us more about the recycling capabilities that they have to make sure that we put the proper recyclables in the recycle bin and that the trash goes in the trash bin and we don't mix them up. Well, I was putting some things in the recycle bin that shouldn't go there. Plastic bags, styrofoam, shrink wrap, those kinds of things. They don't belong in there. They gum up the recycling works. With better education, we can all make sure that the proper things get in the right bin and do what's best for the environment. So those are the 4 main reasons why we pursued this goal of a franchise agreement. So after the request for proposals were sent out, we received proposals from 6 waste haulers, 4 that are currently serve the village and 2 others. And the proposal stack was what? 6 to 8 inches tall. Steve and staff distilled that down into formal bid tabs, and I've got a copy of the bid tab here, which highlights all of the criteria that was requested of these bidders. And from this bid tab, then, we were able to select the best possible price with the best services for the village. And that came out to be Groot Industries at $16.85 a month, with annual increases of 2.5% for a 5-year contract. So they,
Great. And so here is the actual program that was presented by Groot Industries that the committee is recommending for approval. We have copies of that here up front. And again, it is a 5-year agreement. And I'm going to skip over this because it's a little hard to read and talk a little bit about some of the highlights of the franchise agreement. Again, first and foremost, it would be an unlimited collection of refuge, recycling, and landscape waste. That means as much refuge and recycling and landscape waste as you can put out, they will take. Residents have a choice of either a 95 or a 65-gallon cart for either refuse and for recycling. So if you want a 95, the typical would be 95 gallons for refuse, 65 for recycling. However, some residents may want a smaller cart because they don't generate as much refuse, and they can accept a 65-gallon cart. There are some residents who generate a lot of recycling, and if they would like, they could have 2 95-gallon carts, one for refuge and one for recycling. Choice is totally the residents. We also were able to negotiate a senior discount of 4.5% from the $16.85 per month charge down to $16.10. We originally discussed a 3-year agreement, but we were able to negotiate a better agreement for a 5-year period with 2.5% increases each year. If the program were to be approved tonight, the program would begin on August 3rd. With Thursday pickups on all homes south of 79th Street, Friday pickup of all homes north of 79th Street. The program also includes all free bulk item pickup. So if you have old sofa or chairs or lamps or things like that you want to get rid of, they will be picked up at no charge. White goods, however, when we're talking about refrigerators and stoves and microwaves, things like that, there's a $25 per item fee, and you need to call Groot for a special pickup there. Now, in order to provide as much flexibility as possible, we've come up with a couple of options for residents. We call it an optional back door, which is actually a top of driveway service for $33.70 per month. And this is where the hauler will actually come back to the top of your driveway and pick up your refuse. So you don't have to bring out the garbage cans to the curb. Again, this is for driveways 100 feet in length or less. If you have a driveway exceeding 100 feet, you'll have to negotiate a price with Groot. Again, this is just for refuse, recycling, and landscape waste would still have to be brought to the curb. Another program we initiated was an optional top of driveway empty cart return service for $24.85. What this means is that the residents would bring their carts to the curb, both recycling and refuse, and the hauler for that $24.85 per month charge would bring them back to the top of the driveway. Again, for driveways 100 feet in length or less, and for those that are over that, there would be an additional charge. The reason why we created this program was for those who mentioned their concern that, well, gee, there's a lot of weekends that we go away to our summer home, and who's going to bring back our carts? Well, for those few people that have that situation, we were able to devise this particular program where you won't have to worry about that. The hauler, for this additional price, will be able to bring the carts back to the top of your driveway. Now, there's also residents who mentioned, gee, we go away at the wintertime for 2 or 3 months at a time, and can we suspend service? And so we put that into the program, where residents may temporarily suspend service for a specific period of time if away from their homes for more than 30 days. And then if you would like additional carts because you generate additional refuse or recycling, or whether you want to use a cart of Groot's for landscape waste, for example, you can rent those carts for an additional fee of $5 per month. Now, we spent a great deal of time talking to homeowners associations that have existing contracts, and we are agreeing in the contract and in the ordinance that will follow, if this is approved, to allow them to maintain their existing contracts with their other licensed haulers if they have a lower price and they request to opt out. We simply ask that they give us a copy of the contract, and that contract should have been valid before January 1st of 2017. We also ask that they contact Groot before making this decision to opt out, just to make sure that they're aware of all the options that Groot is providing. Also, there are homeowner associations that are actually contracting at a lower price currently with Groot. And we didn't want to get in the way of that, and so in the agreement and in the ordinance, there is an allowance for the hauler to offer homeowner associations that have existing contracts at a lower price than the prices we're quoting now if they deem appropriate. And the reason why that can happen is because we have a lot of empty nester types of subdivisions where the actual homeowner association is billed, not the residents. And so instead of sending 50 bills out, there's only one bill. And because in a lot of those cases also, there's no landscape waste because the homeowner association handles all of the landscaping. And so for that reason, the hauler can potentially offer a homeowner association of that type a lower price. And we certainly didn't want to get in the way of the ability for our residents to achieve that in those situations. Also in the contract, free refuge and recycling pickup, it will be provided at all our municipal facilities and for all special village events. And then, of course, there's proper insurance, there's performance bond, indemnification, and public education requirements that are all included in the contract. The committee has spent a great deal of time working on this agreement to make sure everything that we've discussed over the past several months is included, and that Groot was willing to agree to provide those services to our residents. So I think overall we have a very flexible program, and a program I think is an excellent one at a very, very reasonable price. And the people that we've talked to, and again, we received dozens of emails. We've met, again, in 3 different meetings. We've had this room full of residents, and the vast majority have told us that they will receive substantial savings of $100, $200, even $300 a year from what they're currently paying. And I think Trustee Francis touched on that. Is that the village can achieve a much lower price than an individual resident can. And this is something that has been discussed in this village for many years, but again, was brought to the forefront through our goals meeting, and lo and behold, a year of hard work later, we are able to provide what we believe is a very excellent program. And this is a map that just shows, again, 79th Street is a demarcation line. All homes south of 79th Street will be picked up on Thursdays. All homes north of 79th Street will be picked up on Fridays. And so how would we move forward if the board approves this tonight? I'm going to turn that back over to Trustee Francis.
Sure. So Steve has put together a timeline here for implementation. If the board approves the franchise agreement tonight, then in May, in the village newsletter, information concerning the agreement would go out, be mailed out with more detailed information for the residents. Also, Groot would send out information packets to each resident in the village on the transition and how to get things set up properly. In June, the village will send a letter to the residents informing them, reminding them of upcoming meetings that would be held, more informational meetings in June and July. Meetings with the residents and a formal presentation by Groot on their waste hauling program. 2 educational meetings in June, one in June and one in July. And then finally, in the last week of July, current haulers would pick up their bins and cans, and new cans would be delivered by Groot to each residence. So, with the goal being service starting the first week of August in 2017. Any questions or comments of the board? Questions or comments of the residents?
I know you were on the committee.
Yeah, I did serve on the committee with Trustee Franzese, who served as our chairman, and we put a lot of time and hard work in. I also want to recognize Steve Stricker and Doug Pollock and Dave Pressig. We all worked together to get the best program together for the residents of the village of Blue Ridge. I believe with this program, we get more with less. We get unlimited garbage, we get unlimited recycling, we get unlimited landscape for $16.85 a month, which is a lot less than what I'm paying now. We've got multiple contacts within the organization of Groot to ensure customer satisfaction. If you can't resolve a problem or a challenge with your service, I know we'll step in, we'll fix it. And I'm happy that the service provider that we have selected has one of its owners that calls Blue Ridge their home. So that's nice to have as well. So thank you.
Trustee Professor?
Whenever you switch to something like this, which affects everybody in the village, somewhere along the line, one or two or a few people are going to be inconvenienced, and the committee, along with Groot, has tried to accommodate those that have a legitimate problem with the way things are being handled, and I think we've done a good job in that respect. What I was surprised about is over the last 2.5 weeks, how many people have stopped me at various places and wanted to talk about it, and all of them have been for the project, and several of them have been upset because of what they were paying and what we've been able to get with them under this new contract. So I would, and then when we have gone through the emails and the other comments that the committee has gotten over the past month or so, it's been extraordinarily positive. And there's no doubt in my mind that the committee and the contract that they've come up with is excellent, and it's in the best interest of the village.
Okay. Anyone else on the board? Okay. Any residents who would like to address the subject? Okay. Seeing no one? All right. Any other discussion?
Just a couple things. My father's bill here, I dug up the other day, my father's bill, his waste hauling bill, $142 every 3 months. That's almost $45 a month. This is $16.85. My bill, $112 every 3 months. Not only is this a great cost savings to the residents, we're getting much more for less, as Trustee Schiappa pointed out. No more stickers. Those of you that deal with stickers on your landscape waste, no more stickers. We get the added advantage of less wear and tear on our roads and safer streets. The waste haulers in my subdivision start at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's by village ordinance. They can't start any earlier. In the wintertime, it's dark at 7 o'clock, and they're coming down the street, and the kids are walking to their school bus in the dark, school bus stop in the dark. So this is all about safety, making our streets as safe as possible for our residents and for our children, and making sure that we minimize the wear and tear on our streets. These waste hauling trucks are the heaviest trucks that regularly frequent our streets every week. Heavier than the UPS truck, heavier than the FedEx truck, and so forth. The heaviest truck regularly. So they impart the most wear and tear on our streets. In upcoming budgets, we're going to be challenged to make sure that we are able to maintain our high quality of streets in this village. It's going to be tough. We have our work cut out for us. This is one way we can minimize the wear and tear on our streets. So I encourage support of this resolution. Thank you.
And hopefully increase the life expectancy of our roads.
Absolutely.
We'll have Dave keeping a close eye on that.
So we've been using Groot, or also known as Crown, at one point for 20 years. We've never, ever had a problem. And with the new contract, I think we'll be saving some money on a monthly basis as well. So, very happy.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to approve Resolution 7A, consideration of adoption of resolution to award a contract for exclusive village-wide scavenger services to Groot Industries of Elk Grove Village.
So moved.
Second.
Had a motion, have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Pavesa,
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa,
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
Trustee Model,
Yes.
Trustee Mattel,
Yes.
5-0.
Motion passes 5-0, and I'd just like to say that Trustee Francis was close to saying, voting on that first. I kind of wish he had, because I know he wanted to.
I'm not as quick as Al.
I know, but I have to say that the word perseverance was used earlier, and I have to say that you certainly showed tremendous perseverance on this for a lot of years, and then when it became a topic, you just I think probably the first one to mention it on the goal setting and led the charge, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you. It was a tremendous group effort with Trustee Schiappa, Trustee Murphy, Trustee Pavesa, and certainly staff did a tremendous amount of legwork that made our jobs easy. Steve Stricker, Dave Preissig, and Doug Pollock, and all of the people that helped them to make this possible. So it was a great team effort. Thank you.
Now we must address the ordinances, so we allow a slight change to our ordinance under 6A, consideration of ordinance amending Chapter 50 for refuse control of the Burr Ridge Municipal Code.
Right, now that you've approved a franchise agreement, we need to amend Chapter 50, which updates the existing refuge control ordinance, includes requirements related to the award of an exclusive contract with a waste hauler for the village for the collection and disposal of refuge, recycled materials, and landscape waste. If you don't have any questions, I would recommend approval of the amendments to Chapter 50.
Any questions on the board? A motion to approve 6A.
Go ahead. So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Model, excuse me, Trustee Model,
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa,
Yes.
Trustee Francis,
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa,
Yes.
Trustee Mattel,
Yes.
5-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Under considerations, we have consideration 8A, consideration recommendation to concur with the award of a contract by IDOT for the 79th Street LAFO project. We have our Public Works Director, David Preissig.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The agenda item is really just a formality, but I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about this being kind of the obtaining the right grant for the right street to resurface it at really the right time. In reference to 79th Street between Madison Street and County Line Road, the street was last resurfaced in 1999. So the village looked ahead and in 2013 was successful in obtaining a grant for the resurfacing of the project from the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, and which is a federally funded local agency functional overlay type grant. In 2015, we were fortunate to find out that not only was a grant just covering the 70%, but that DuPage Mayors and Managers would cover 75% of the construction cost. And we were fortunate enough to get great bid prices. This last April, IDOT opened the bid prices for the 79th Street LAFO project, of which we got a bid that was 9.5% under the engineer's estimate of about $452. Now this follows our road program As you know, you recall that we got about 15% under the engineer's estimate. It's a very competitive bid environment for this kind of road work. And so we're fortunate to have that through IDOT. The scope of the work on 79th Street will be, of course, a milling and resurfacing. We're all kind of familiar with that, but also various repairs to some of the sidewalks. Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, fixes to the sidewalk crossings at the roadways, but also replacing that guardrail that's down at Drew Avenue. So those all fall under the scope of a LAFO type job, the LAFO, the functional overlay. So we're fortunate, again, to get such great bid prices at the right time for this grant and to have it increased from 70 to 75%. All those savings, again, will bring us about $11,000 under our budgeted amount for our local match. So with that, I'd ask for I guess, a recommendation to concur.
What does LAFO stand for again?
The LAFO is the Local Agency Functional Overlay. So it's a policy overlay project. It doesn't involve much work other than just rehabilitating the roadway pavement. We can't widen the road, we can't add curb, we can't do those kinds of things. It's a competitive grant that we got through DuPage Mayors and Managers to do just the maintenance resurfacing.
Thank you. Any questions of David? May I have a motion to
Concur.
Pardon me?
To concur.
Yeah. May I have a motion to concur with 8A? Consideration of recommendation to concur with the award of a contract by IDOT for the 79th Street LAFO project.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Mattel?
Yes.
5-0.
Okay, second is 8B, consideration and recommendation to award a professional services contract for construction engineering on the 79th Street LAFO project.
Okay, so with the federal type grants that are administered through the Illinois Department of Transportation, or IDOT, come a lot of documentation and requirements for inspection and holding the contractor accountable, of course. To do that best, we bring on a consulting engineer. The same engineer was the one that kept our project through the early stages to get it on that tight schedule, to meet that requirement through DuPage Mayors and Managers, to get that 70 to 75% increase. We had to accelerate the project last year. So Patrick Engineering Consultants out of Lyle, Illinois, has done a fantastic job, has done other work of this nature for the village of the Woodridge. They will meet with IDOT, they will follow the contractor, they will document everything that we needed to get the proper pay estimates going, to make sure we're invoiced properly in accordance with the grant requirements through the state. I forgot to mention too, the construction schedule, we don't know yet. The contractor we will meet with later this month through the Illinois Department of Transportation, that Brothers Asphalt resurfacing, that did our road program last year, did a fantastic job with some of the work. And they, when we find out a more detailed schedule, we will let the residents, the businesses, of course the church know along 79th Street what that schedule will be. The consulting engineer will provide a lot of information and legwork to meet those requirements as well. So with that, we'll ask for the recommendation to award the engineering services agreement.
Any questions of our Public Works Director? May I have a motion to concur with 8B, consideration of recommendation to award a professional services contract for construction engineering on the 79th Street LAFO project. Motion to concur?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Mattel?
Yes.
5-0.
Now, under considerations, we have 8C. I'm going to let Steve Stricker fully explain this.
Yes, you may be wondering why this is back to the village board so soon. You might recall that at the April 10th meeting, the board remanded this petition to the Plan Commission in order to allow the petitioner to amend their petition. However, there was a meeting that was held with the petitioners and the mayor and staff, and based on that discussion, the petitioner agreed not to pursue any additional variations. We talked to our village attorney, and he indicated that we can go ahead and bring this directly back to the village board. What this variation results in is additional parking And the Plan Commission original recommendation to approve the request by Insight Real Estate for variations from the zoning ordinance to permit parking to be located 60 feet from the front line along Blue Ridge Parkway rather than 79.76 feet, and to permit additional parking between the building and the corner side lots, rather than the requirement prohibiting parking between the building and the corner side lot line. In exchange for these two additional variations that will generate substantial additional parking, the owners agreed not to expand parking in the southwest corner of the property. So that was the trade-off that the Plan Commission recommended and that the owners are now in agreement with. So with that in mind, I think this is the current plan in place, and the recommendation is based on what I think the residents in the area who came out for this public hearing are looking for. And with that in mind, I would recommend that the Plan Commission's recommendations regarding the parking variations be approved.
I know this is something we've discussed before, and we've had numerous meetings throughout the months, but any questions on the board? Any questions of petitioner or Steve? Trustee
Just a
Francis?
comment. I did attend the public hearing before the Plan Commission, and I do appreciate the petitioners listening to the residents in the village center and not utilizing the parking that was land banked in the southwest corner. Thank you.
Any other discussion? May I have a motion to approve 8C?
You have to rescind the remanding first.
Actually, rescind the remand simultaneously.
Yeah,
Rescind and
first approve a
simultaneously.
motion rescinding the remanded, the remand to the Plan Commission, so that should be separate motion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Then, do we have a motion to approve rescinding it?
So moved.
Rescinding the remand.
Rescinding the remand. So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
Trustee Martell?
Yes.
5-0.
And then the second motion is to approve the Plan Commission's recommendation and direct staff to prepare the ordinance granting the variations.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Scalpa?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Model?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Martell?
Yes.
5-0.
Both passed 5-0. I'd like to add on to Trustee Francis's comments. This is actually a signature building in Burr Ridge. And let us not forget that the McGraw Hill Building, as it's frequently known, is one of the best known in the village, one of the first to really help put the whole Burr Ridge corporate parkway together. On behalf of the village and the residents of the Village Center, I'd also like to thank the petitioners who are here today. They're sitting in the back of the room. Gerald or Jerry and Carolyn Castelny, who own that building. So we want to thank you very much for your understanding and working with the village, and thank you for all you've done for the village. Thank you. And we have a residents' comments section. I'm sorry, under other considerations for announcement, deliberation, and/or discussion. Anything in there? I don't believe so. Now, residents' comments. Is there a section for residents? Any residents that would like to address the board at this time? Seeing no one. Reports and communications from village officials.
I have two comments. One, at the next meeting, we will be refinancing the debt on the police facility. So that's just let you know that that's coming up. It's an important issue. And of course, tonight, we approved a very, very important issue for the residents of the village. And I would like to just point out to the trustees, how did this come to be? And it came to be through the strategic goal-setting session. So this is my little advertisement for that. It's a major project, okay? And those are the types of things that should be discussed at these goal-setting sessions. And you will be asked to conduct another goal-setting session after July 1st, and when I'm gone. But I'm hoping that you will take it to heart and conduct that goal-setting session. I think it's extremely important that you do so. It provides the opportunity for you to get to know each other a little better, to understand where you're coming from, but also to, present ideas that moves this village forward. And that's why we've always done these goal-setting sessions, why I've always pushed them over the years. And this is a great example of you getting together, you deciding that this is a goal that you wanted to go forward with, a franchise agreement with one waste hauler. And obviously, you see the amount of work and effort that went into this. This wasn't something that you could just do in a week or two and have it ready to go. It was something that we were deliberate in. We spent a lot of time soliciting input from residents to make sure we bring them on board, the work that it takes to make something like that happen. But again, it starts with that goal setting. And I just mentioned that I really hope that you will conduct that session this summer or early fall.
And I would encourage it as well. I look forward to it. Not that Steve's leaving then, but we appreciate that reminder. Anyone else? I have one thing to add. I'd just like to remind everyone that a week from Saturday, we have a very important event in the village called Armed Forces Day. We are one of the very few villages in the state, probably the country, that have a special event for this day. It is to recognize, it's very unique. It's not, it's not a memorial, it's not Veterans Day, it's not the 4th of July, Independence. It's really to celebrate and honor all military veterans, past, present, and future, who have served in every branch of the military. It will be held at our village, our memorial, village memorial right out front on Saturday, May 20th at 10 a.m. We hope you can join us. We also have some refreshments, and there's a band, there's a tent. It's a pretty big deal, and we're just honored to have it. And we hope that you all can join us as well. So, with that, we are now on the section for non-residents. Are there any non-residents who would like to address the board at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Dolores Cizek, and I'm a former trustee of the village. I was trustee for 14 years, and I attended many board meetings before I was elected, as well as plan commission meetings. And I would like to welcome the new trustees. I would like to ask you, how many board meetings did you attend in the last 6 months? There were 11 board meetings in the last 6 months. How many did you attend?
Several.
Several?
I'm not.
6 or 7.
Pardon?
6 or 7.
Well, I've been at most of these meetings, and I don't remember seeing either one of you.
We have met before.
I noticed you've recently increased the sewer fees from $15 per billing period to $20. Now, I don't know what your billing period is, because all the years that we lived in the village, we had a septic system. But $15 to $20 is a 1/3 increase, 33 1/3% increase, which I think is pretty stiff. Where I live, the sewer fee is $5 a month. I noticed you recently decided to take money for the road program from the investment fund. I'd like to point out, I think that the major problem with any municipality, and all you have to do is look at Chicago, is instead of looking for more revenue, they should be looking for savings. For example, while the beautification of this village is very nice, You're paying in this coming fiscal year almost $90,000 for maintenance. I think that's very stiff. And I think too often a program is adopted without looking at what it's going to cost down the road. Now, there have been several questions that I have asked about the fiscal that took place in fiscal year 15-16. One of them was about Grasso Graphics, which was paid $12,750. And I wanted to know if that was bid. I wanted to know if it was a low bid. And I wanted to know if Trustee Grasso had any relation to the principal of Grasso Graphics. That question was never answered.
Dolores, I disagree with you. We have answered that question several times. You've brought that up several times. And I told you more than once that there's no relationship between former Mayor Grasso, former Trustee Grasso, and this particular firm. And the answer is yes, we did get prices for this work, and they were the low bid. That's the only reason why we're using them, is because they are the low bid. Now, this is not the first time I've explained this to you.
I don't recall that you answered it, and any answers that you give me should be on your time, not my 5 minutes.
This is your 5 minutes. This is all part of it.
Secondly, I asked why the village administrator is paid $1,000 a week more than the police chief of this village. I think the position of chief of police is just as important as village administrator, and I don't see why there should be such a huge gap between the village administrator and the police chief. Thank you for your time.
Now that you're finished, Dolores, that's just not true. If you look at my salary and you look at his salary, it's not a $52,000 difference.
Well, I took that information from the revenue report for fiscal year 15-16.
Dolores, you're incorrect.
I'll bring it to the next meeting. Thank you.
Are there any other non-residents that would like to come and compliment the village? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Scalpa.
Yes.
Trustee Babeza.
Yes.
Trustee Model.
Yes.
Trustee Francis.
Yes.
Trustee Motello.
Yes.
5-0.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, especially a special guest, Dory Balkunas, is also came to join us for tonight, and want to thank her for coming as well. God bless you, Dory. Thank you, Dory. The meeting is officially adjourned.